So my name is Tony Gonzalez, and today we are going to talk to Jack Starr, who released a new recording called Out of the Darkness 2. The media, Jack, is made in metal, and this is rock. How are you?
Good, I'm doing good. It's nice to see you and get a chance to talk to my brothers in metal that from the country of Spain.
It's been 40 years since the release of Out of the Darkness. What motivates you to create a sequel?
Well, I wanted to continue the glorious path that I started traveling on 40 years ago, and I found that it was unfinished business. It was something that I needed to conclude, like like the end of a book, or maybe, the next chapter in a book.
Was easy for you the process liking recapturing the spirit for Out of the Darkness Part 2?
Um, I had the ideas for these songs for the last 5 years, and I was thinking that I want to record these and share them with the metal fans that have been very kind to my career, very supportive. And so I had the chance to start recording, and I decided I'm going to do it.
Is there a concept or story behind this second chapter?
The story really is how we can all make a difference. We all need to assert our individuality and our personal liberty and fight for what we believe in. If we believe in freedom and democracy, then we have to fight for it because not everyone wants to see liberty and justice triumph. Some people would like the world to be a miserable, dark place. Not me.
Neither me, neither me. Yes. So, Jack, in this new album, the singer is Giles Lavery from Warlord and Alcatraz. How did that partnership come about, and what does his voice brings to the classic Jack Starr sound?
I needed great musicians and great singers because I've always had great singers. Uh, from the great Frank Vestry, he sang on Rock the American Way. Then I had Mike Torelli, uh, who sang on No Turning Back and Blaze of Glory, the Orange album, Strider, great vocalist. And then I met Todd Michael Hall, great singer. He sings in a band called Riot. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they play in Europe a lot. Uh, so I've always had great singers, and I couldn't use the old singers that I've had because they're all doing other things. So I needed somebody new that I had not worked with. And a friend of mine said, Giles Lavery sings real good in the band Warlord and also in Alcatraz. So he goes, maybe, you could call him and see if he would be interested. So I gave him a call and we talked, and everything worked out good. And he also had some friends that he recommended, including Eric Juris. He's a, guitar player, and he played a lot on this album also. And also, Mark Zonder played on one song. He's in the band Warlord. But the drummer that played really on the whole album, except for one song, is a guy named Rhino. And Rhino was in Manowar. And he's a very good drummer, strong, like see some drummers are, they hit hard. Rhino hits hard, like John Bonham of Led Zeppelin. So once I had the good people, then it's easier. We have a saying in America, uh, no man is an island. We're all connected. So, and I'm not an island. I'm just I'm just a guy that wants to make music. I'm not curing cancer. I don't have the cure for cancer. I'm not building rocket ships to go to Mars. I'm just somebody that wants to make good heavy metal music.
Now that you mention Rhino, did you have previous contact with Rhino, musically speaking, or friendly? Tell me.
I've worked with Rhino in the past. I've heard him play uh, with some of the bands, that he's been in, and he's just a great guy, because music, it's not just about uh, how good someone can play. It's the kind of feeling that they have. If we can be on the same page. So when I listen to Rhino, I know that he's listened to a lot of the same music that I listen to, like maybe like Led Zeppelin or I don't know, White Snake or you know, so it works. I'm not teaching Rhino anything. He already knows, you know, and I'm not teaching anything to Giles or Eric. These guys, they don't need me to, to tell them how to play metal or how to sing metal. They already do it, and they do it great.
You also mentioned Mark Sonder. I consider that Sonder has a unique style playing the drums. Please, which track that he played on, and did you decide to take it in this recording because Lavery came first, or it was Mark Sonder who tell you about Lavery?
That's a good question. Um, what happened is we had one song on the album which is more progressive sounding. Maybe it sounds more like bands like Rush and Dream Theater and the band that Mark was in, the great Fates Warning, one of the best progressive metal bands that ever existed. And he played the drums on it. So when I talked to Giles, I said, we need a drummer for this song that has the kind of feel that the drummer of Rush. And he said, well, I know the right guy for this song because there are maybe a very small amount of people in the world that can play with that kind of finesse. And I use the French word finesse. And Mark is one of them. And he proved that in the band Fates Warning. Now he has this other great band. They just put out an album. I think they're called A to Z. So it was really a miracle having Mark play on that one song.
The single Rise Up
Yeah.
addressed the fight for freedom and justice. What inspired you to write this song?
Well, I was very disappointed in my the people around me who didn't have the courage to rise up and say no. The government works for the people. The people do not work for the government. We are not the slaves of the government. The government has to work for the people. The people should not be afraid of the government. The government should be afraid of the people. And Rise Up is about that. It's telling people, don't be afraid, because we have the strength. The people have the strength. We have the power. So that's what the song is about. And the whole tragedy of COVID was proof that people were afraid. They believed all the lies that the government told them. And they were afraid to assert themselves. And I hope that we've all learned a lesson, that people have learned a lesson, and to not let the power that we have be taken away.
Rise is a perfect song for a live show. And that made me think, are you thinking of bringing this project to perform in live?
You're right. It is the perfect song for a live show. And when I wrote it, I was thinking, I was envisioning a big place and everybody going, rise up, the whole strength and power. So yes, I'm talking to a couple of people, but I want to play in Spain. And if there are any promoters that are hearing this from Spain, I'd like to play in Madrid, in Barcelona, in all over Spain. And the singer, not the singer on this album, but on the album before, plays in a Spanish metal band called Hitten. And so he told me that the Spanish people really do love metal. And not only that, but they love guitar. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Spain is the land of the guitar. And when I play, this is my influence. It's the guitar music of Spain. I listened to that when I was a boy. I listened to Spanish guitar players that maybe you don't even know. One was called Manitas del Plata. I listened to him. And of course, Segovia and all the other greats. But when I play guitar, I can play like that. And very, very few people can do that because they don't understand that it's about feeling and passion when you play. What makes a guitar player good is not how many little songs they can play by Segovia or by anybody. It's the feeling. Most people do not play with feeling. When they do play with feeling, the audience knows it.
Now that you mentioned the guitar, I would like to ask you if there is a particular song on the new album that represents a significant evolution in your style as a guitar player or songwriter.
Yes, there is. There is one song, and there is one part of the song, not even the whole song. The guitar solo in the song Hands of Doom. Here's what I'm going to tell you. In classical music, there's something called the circle of fifths. This refers to a chord pattern. It's like in a circle. Like a circle has no beginning and it has no end. In classical music, there was a classical composer named Pachelbel. He was from Germany, I think in the 1700s. He wrote music and a lot of it had that. So it's one of my favorite things in music is playing to the circle of fifths. I did that in the song Hands of Doom. So when the solo starts, the chords repeat themselves in a circle. Uh, and I love playing to that. So to make the answer, yes, that song. And I've used that before, that piece of classical music, because I love playing to it. When I was in the band Virgin Steele, we had a song called "Crying the Night" that also had the circle of fifths, and other composers use it. You know, Gary Moore, "Still Got the Blues." That's also circle of fifths.
Now that you mention Virgin Steel, last year they remastered the first and the second CD, and we have the opportunity to interview them. Tell me, looking back for your early days with Virgin Steel, what would you say have been the most meaningful moment in this band?
I
Yes.
think it was playing really good quality heavy metal. It was, it's always a great feeling to do something and you do it well. It it was great to make songs and then 40 and 50 years later, people remember them. So that was great. And also, the reaction that we got because, we were very young and we're playing this crazy music because it was crazy. Very few people were blending classical and metal and blues. And so people were like looking at us like, like we had two heads, like we were strange creatures, from another planet. But we were able to convert these people into being open-minded and to listen. And we started a form of music, epic metal, power metal. So songs like Guardians of the Flame were really at the beginning, and I'm very proud of it because sometimes I'll meet a young musician and he'll say, "Oh, Jack, man, I gotta, thank you for being an influence, a good influence, and so it's nice. It's a good feeling."
Now that you mentioned the blues in your answer, I remember the Jack Starr Blues Band some years ago, and I would like to know what elements from the blues have enriched your style and songwriting in heavy metal, or the opposite. Do you think that two sides of the musical identity complement each other, the blues and the heavy metal?
Yes. My favorite metal guitar players have blues when they play. Uh, People like Tony Iommi. You can hear his phrasing has a blues influence. Ross the Boss has some blues in his playing. John Sykes in the band Blue Murder. There's some blues to his playing. It's very, very, very important. I I don't even really like guitar players if they don't have a blues component to their playing because the blues is the foundation of rock, of metal, of American music, Western music. It's the foundation. And everything gets built on top of this foundation. So if I were looking at a building and the foundation wasn't good, I probably would not like that building. If I looked at a woman and she had a lot of makeup and she was wearing a little short skirt but it's not going to change the fact that she's either an attractive woman or not. None of that changes anything. It's just the outer manifestation. So without blues, there's nothing. And I'm one of the last of this generation, of the previous generation, that is still playing. I'm a link to the past. I'm a direct link to Jimmy Page, to Eric Clapton, to Ritchie Blackmore. Those guys they're not playing anymore. Or maybe they are, but it's very little. Also, I don't know if they still have the passion to play. I don't know. I don't know them, but I have the passion and the desire to go on stage and kick ass. And that's what I'm going to do when I go to Spain.
The last Jack Starr, Burning Star recording was Land of the Dead in 2011. This recording, the new recording under the name Jack Starr, means that Burning Star is done, or do you think that we will continue?
Burning Star is not done. We have a new album that will be finished. We have a name for the new album, Chasing the Ghost. And this in English means when you're chasing a ghost, you're trying to create something that's indefinable. You're trying to put air or water in a container. It's very hard to do. You're trying to capture starshine, a little. It's very difficult. But no, Burning Star is going to continue, and Jack Starr, Out of the Darkness, of course, is going to continue. We have 2 albums, Out of the Darkness 1 and 2, and Giles told me that he would love to sing the live shows. So with Giles, we are going to do some shows, and with Burning Star as well, because a man can love 2 different musics, can love 2 different cars, or you can love, you might have a Ferrari, but you might also love a Bentley. Burning Star is a Ferrari. Jack Starr, Out of the Darkness, is a Bentley. They're both great cars.
Have you ever considered writing your memoirs, not just about music, but the personal experience, challenge, cultural changes you have witnesses along the way?
I have a lot of stories, a lot. I've met everybody in music. I've played on every stage in the world. I've played on stages that the Beatles have played on, that Jimi Hendrix has played on. I've done a lot of things, a lot of crazy things, and a lot of things that were just normal, just like a regular person. But my life is probably one of the most interesting stories in all of rock and roll. I might just do it, but there's more. But I have more to do. I don't feel that I'm at the end of the road. I still feel like I'm at the beginning of the road, and that's what's crazy. And I play with the passion and feeling of someone who, I've made 100 albums. I mean, I'm on 100 albums, played with everybody you could think of. But what's important to me is not talking about the past all the time, because I'm excited about the future. The album Out of the Darkness Part 2 is really it's a monumental piece of work. I mean, what do you think of it? Let me ask you.
I have the music there, and for example, I really enjoy The Night Has a Thousand Eyes, Sahara Winds. Sahara Winds to me is a song that I like a lot. Is in some moments reminds me of Ritchie Blackmore.
Yes, okay, a little bit, yeah.
Yes, And there is another that is a Soul Keeper. Soul Keeper
Yes.
is another song that I enjoy. Yes.
Okay. I'm proud of the album. I'm very proud of it. I mean, Giles sang great, Rhino played great, the bass player Gene Cooper played great on it. And the guitars are really good. I liked what I did. I had great help from Eric Juris, another great guitar player. And there's not a weak link on the album. I don't believe there is anything weak on the album. I think I think it's a good album. I want the people of Spain, to listen to it. I would like that. I want to do something very, very, very strong, very powerful, loud, uh, a lot of passion, emotion. And I think that that's what people need to see. I have a mission. My mission next time I come to Europe is to show the world what I can do. I'm not looking for a paycheck. I'm not looking for groupies or anything like that. I'm in a great relationship with a wonderful woman. I don't need any of that stuff that young men, look for. What I'm looking to do is I'm looking to deliver great music and to make people happy because we need it.
You have been working for over 40 years. What achievement or experience do you
Oh,
consider most significant in your career?
in a good way or a bad way?
I prefer the good way.
Doing some big concerts, in Europe, maybe like Magic Circle Festival in Germany or playing Keep It True Festival, Up the Hammers Festival last year. We played, Up the Hammers in Greece. Important thing for me was there was there was a magazine called Kerrang, and in 1983 or 84, they used to have a page in the magazine called Guitar Heroes, you know, and so one day I'm going to the store, my favorite, music store, and I pick up a copy of Kerrang and I'm reading. It was me. So they gave me this great honor, and it made me very happy because I realized that there were people in the world who really valued my musicianship, my guitar playing. And this was proof.
Of course, man, of course, there are a lot of people that knows you, even in countries where you have never been, because
Yeah.
I was born in Cuba, and I remember that I met your music there in Cuba in the early, no, in the early 90s, maybe. I'm not
Wow.
sure. Yes. And for this reason is this interview, because when I saw the opportunity to interview you, said, Jack Starr, wow. And I'm here. And my last question is if after so many years of making music, is there an artistic dreams or goal you haven't complete or fulfilled?
You're from Cuba.
Yes.
And of course, moving to Spain is not that you speak the language already.
Yes. But I know Spanish because I have been there for more than 15 years.
Yes, it makes me feel happy that people in Cuba were familiar, with my music. And but in answer, to your question, it was important psychologically for me to get this validation because, to open up a magazine and there you are. And this magazine is saying, yeah, this guy is one of the best, and I think they only maybe did maybe 10 Guitar Hero pages, in that magazine. And so it was a big honor. I would say that was a very big honor for me because it made me realize that, and then getting signed, to record labels. Like in Canada, we got signed to a label that was a great label. Also, we got signed in Japan, because everybody, we kind of have a joke in America. I'm big in Japan. It's like, it means basically you might not know who I am, but I'm big in Japan. So, you know, so the funny thing is when my album started getting released in Japan, I said, well, now, if I tell someone, oh, I'm big in Japan, I can say, hey, I have albums in Japan. And even the new album, Out of the Darkness Part 2, is actually being sold in Japan through a company called Disc Union. So it's just nice, and also, having your records bootlegged. It's not a good thing, but it shows that you are well loved. I mean, I've never made a record deal with the Soviet Union, Russia. I think it's called Russia now. I
No.
don't think they call it the Soviet Union, but my records come out there all the time because people bootleg them. So nobody's going to bootleg you and counterfeit you if they don't think you're good and if they don't think they can sell a lot of records. And my records in China also, in Mexico. I have a lot of fans in Mexico, and this was about 5 years ago. So one of my fans sent me a picture, and they were wearing a Burning Star shirt, and I said, "Wow, that is a great, great shirt. Where did you get it?" Because I knew that it was not an official shirt. And so my friend said, "Oh, I got it in the big flea market in Mexico City." And I said, "Really?" You go, "Yeah, they have lots of them. And they have your CDs, they have your records." And I'm thinking, this is crazy. There's all these people making money from Jack Starr music. But it shows to me that there is a lot of recognition in the world. And so I'm happy with that. Not happy that they're stealing.
I remember maybe some years ago, but I don't know exactly when, that I read an interview and you mentioned that at times you feel you haven't received the recognition you deserve. But I remember this idea now, and I think that your perspective has changed or you have the same feeling.
I think it's changed because I really am getting more and more known, even just in the last uh, 3 months. They've been doing a great job. The Brave Words Records and the publicist, Michael Brandvold, who has been really doing a great job of putting me out there and letting me talk. Because, I think that if, these interviews, like the one that we're doing today, I think people can see that I'm a normal, nice, approachable person. I don't have a big ego, and I think it's important to people. Besides, liking my music, they want to like me as a person. because I think that it's hard to disassociate the person from their music. If you don't like someone, it's hard to like their music. And if you like someone, usually you're going to like their music. There's a connection. So in answer to your question, yes, I'm a lot happier and more satisfied that people all over the world really, really are starting to know who I am, and they're making the connection between the Jack Starr of 2025 and the Jack Starr of 1985. And they're seeing it's the same person playing with the same passion and honesty that I played with. Because music, has to be honest. You can't do music because you just want to make a little bit of money or whatever. You have to have something to say. Filmmakers are are filmmakers that have something to say. That, like the great, French filmmakers like François Truffaut or you know, or they have something that they want to say in their movies and or in their literature. So Jack Starr has something he wants to say, and I'm happy that people want to hear it. They people are very, very fascinated by me, you know, and it's only going to get more and more, because I am I'm redefining myself. I don't know if you know what I'm trying to say. Yes, I'm redefining myself, meaning I am getting to know me, and I like me. I, I you know, I like I like what I like my place in the world, my place in music, what I'm doing, and my interactions with other people. I'm just trying to keep everything on a happy level and on a level of we're all in the same boat. You live in Madrid, I live in Florida. There's no difference. We're part of the planet Earth. We are made up of the same components. You know, we're human beings, and men and women as well. You know, when I was young, I thought, oh, women, that's another creature. Now it's like I see women as fellow human beings, fellow travelers on this adventure that we are all embarked on. And the adventure is called life.
So, Jack, basically, those were our questions. Thank you very much for your time and your music. If you want to say something to say goodbye, this is your moment.
I would like to tell my fans in Spain, please come and see me and come and talk to me. I'm approachable. I'll be happy to sign albums and t-shirts and whatever and talk to you. And it's great because I want to know who you are, like you want to know who I am. And let's all have a meeting and have great concerts in Spain. So if there are Spanish promoters, get in touch with me through Brave Words Records, and let's talk about maybe doing a tour over there.
Yes, Jack. I hope to see you soon here in Madrid.
And how do you say goodbye? Goodbye.
Adiós.
Adios. Adios. Buenos tardes.
Adiós, Jack. Adiós.
Adios.
Ciao.